Okay. Hi everyone. Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome to the School of Light. This is another episode of the Image Breakdown, and the Image Breakdown is a wonderful series where I'm plucking people off the internet or out of my life who are light painters that I think you will gather some amazing skills from, be inspired by, or will help you to grow both as an artist and a human. Phill Fisher is none of those things. I felt like I had to invite him on because I invited all his friends on, and I thought he might get upset. So
didn't want to leave me out, did you?
No. So this is Phill Fisher. Hi. Have you taken any photos? Have you taken any photos? No. Anyway, so my job now is to introduce you to Phill. And I wanted to start by saying a couple of things. Firstly, Phill and I have met a few times. Phill is a perfect example of how two people can connect, meet, and become, and I may be overstepping my mark here, but become very good friends through the internet.
Lies. I'm just piggybacking off your fame.
But seriously, Phill is that guy for me. We are very good friends. We've met. I hesitate to say a few times. Yeah, something like that. But every time we meet.
Not bad for a bloke that lives in Australia and a bloke that lives in England, really.
That's it. I reckon a good way to describe Phill would be, if you remember when you were at school and there was that one guy in the classroom that the teacher always sat at the front of the class going, "Oh my God, Phill, would you just be quiet or I'm sending you to the principal's office?" That would be this guy. And, you're going to, over the next 20 minutes or so, you're going to learn a little bit about that. But Phill started light painting some time ago. I would call you, mate, probably, you're old school. I mean, old school.
No, God, no.
Well,
no,
when? Like, when was your first photo?
End of 2014 is when I started.
Well, there you go. So it's been a while.
And properly sort of got addicted in 2015. So,
yeah. But one of the things with Phill, and the reason I've asked him to come and join us is not just to make him feel like he's not being left out, but Phill is a guy who quite genuinely, if you go, and I'm going to force you to go and have a look back through his work, there's this really amazing progression. There's this growth. You can see that he has experimented with a whole lot of different things. Phill is also someone that is very good at creating community. There's a group of crazy English guys who go out and experiment together. But when I was looking through your stuff, mate, like if you did it in chunks, there's this development of your work. And the image we're going to be looking at today, which I'll bring up on the screen now, is a fantastic example of that. It's quite a technical image. Now there we are. You're there. Quite a technical image. But we are going to do a few image breakdowns, you and I, because one of the things that I love about your work in particular is it's gone from being completely bonkers, like, as we all do when we start light painting. It's just insane.
Yeah.
That your work that you've been doing with drones and with really beautiful soft lighting around, around the all those incredible scenes that you get with castles. There's an image that you created. I think it's Fountain Abbey with the red light inside.
Yeah,
all of that. And the image behind you is one of my the image behind Phill is the one I was going to ask him for us to break down, but he thought it was a bit boring, and I'm like, but that's the beauty of it. When you go into art, when you go into art galleries and there's that one canvas on the wall that's just plain white and you stare at it for hours going. Anyway, I'm going to bring this image up, mate. Here it comes.
Cool.
Okay. So what I would love to ask you to do, mate, now that we've introduced you, I'm going to let you, there was another photograph we were going to break down. It's of a large man's sort of groinal region in the sky, which I'm going to show now, but we decided that might be a bit filthy. But this image that we've got on the screen now is one I really love, Phill, because a couple of things. It's got you in it, which is, it's probably
always a winner.
Yeah. So there's a lot of elements, and I would like you to do a couple of things for me. One is, the first one, we'll get serious now, shall we? The first one I'd love you to do.
Try.
Yeah. Is give us a bit of an idea of, like, there's a bit going on. Talk us a bit about the image, the idea, what where the idea came from. And then what I want to do is just get you to step us through the process to get it finished. Sir, you may have the floor. Your head may have the
thanks
floor.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Hi. So basically, it's a double exposure, but it's not. It's a single exposure lens swap. Two tripods involved, and the drone as well. So when I first started, I hung out with as many light painters as possible in the UK, and two guys that really filled me with knowledge were Mark Barras and Tim Gamble, and I learned so much off of those guys. I had so much fun, like just fucking around in the dark with them. And basically they sort of showed me about lens swapping. You know, when you first hear about it, it's like, you take the lens off mid-exposure and then bung another lens on. How the hell does that work? And, you know, so because I was dead keen in light painting and I wanted to try absolutely everything. You know, first it was orbs. There's everyone. It's like the gateway drug, isn't it, to light painting and making shapes. First it was orbs, and other sort of wavy patterns, then it was rotation, and then it was basically anything that I could move on to. And lens swapping was just is another thing that I quite like to do. Don't do a lot of it because I only seem to end up shooting my own head and sticking stuff inside it, which is fine, but you know, there's other things to do, aren't there? So anyway, so this shot, I've done a few lens swaps just recently before that, putting lots of different things inside my head. And then I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool to get, where I live, there's this massive thing in the middle of my head there, that monument, that's on top of a massive hill. Yeah. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and drone that one day, and I'm going to do a halo like that over it one day. So wouldn't that be cool to maybe stick it in the back in my head and see how that looks? And so I went off and did it. No deep emotional thought behind it. It was literally, I think that'll look cool. So off I went one night, and it's on a hell of a hill. Like, it's a hell of a hill. So,
oh, really? It looks high.
Yeah, like it's a beast. Like, literally, I get fit through light painting because there's so much bloody walking involved. Off I went, drone, two tripods, sorry, a lighting stand for the flash gun, and I'll make sense of that in a second. A drone, cameras, lenses, all of that stuff. You know, not traveling light up this gigantic hill, over to this old monument. And so how I took the shot was, I've got two tripods. One setup is the one looking at my head and the white exterior. And then I've got another one set up, which is behind, you see the wooden bit at the bottom of that image, it's behind there, so it's out of shot. And then I've got the second tripod set up looking at that monument, right? So you set it up backwards.
Yeah.
So first off, I set up the second tripod first, and I get the 14mm on it, and I compose that shot of where I want that monument to sit inside my head. And I know the focal length I've got, and I know the focus point, and I know the aperture that I should be on for potentially quite a long exposure where I'm lighting that monument and then I'm flying the drone around it as well. So once that's all set up, I'll then go around the corner behind the monument, set up tripod number one, and put my 50mm lens on that one, put the flash gun behind me, and I'll look at my phone to trigger the camera and make sure my head is in the frame. So I'll start the exposure, trigger a flash gun behind me to overexpose the background, leaving a silhouette with a dark area inside my head. Put the lens cap on, remember it's dark, take that lens off, put the 14mm lens on, walk round to my second tripod, stick it on the second tripod, make sure it's in focus, make sure the aperture's all right, and then I'll uncap the lens. I'll lit in the monument from either side with a torch, and I put the cap back on the lens, fired up the drone, sent the drone up, got it spinning around the monument in a halo, took the lens cap off, and then stopped the exposure. So yeah, that simple as that.
Okay, so here's a question I'm asking all you weirdos that do this stuff. How many attempts to get it till you were happy?
That was the first shot.
Ah, piss off.
It was a complete fluke. It was a complete fluke. I did do one test where I've got, because I did do one test to make sure my head and the other tripod were lined up. So I, popped the flash behind me and then went and took the camera to the other tripod and then exposed for a length of time to make sure that the monument was slap bang where I wanted.
Yeah.
That was it. The drone and all the other lighting, it was just first shot. And it's straight out the camera as well. Yeah. Didn't have any adjustments either. So, yeah. So, yeah, but normally, you could spend, a good couple of hours doing them, but they're such a faff that you tend to be quite happy with the first one you do. Yeah. So, and you always get that thing, don't you? Well, look, I'll just do that one again. Yeah. It's taken me 15 minutes, but I'll just do it again. And it ends up being worse than the first one. So you're like, nah, first one's good.
I learned that lesson very early in my light painting journey. There were the almond blossoms were out. They're out now at the moment, actually. And I went out one night. I was driving past and I spun this orb in the almond blossoms, and it blew my mind. It was the very first spin I did. And then, then the blossoms were gone. And then for the next 3 years, I kept going back and back and back and never. I must have taken 50 photos there, and they were never the same. And so I would rather spend the time now going and finding a new place.
Yeah.
And doing that
instead of trying to replicate what you did a couple of years ago. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Mate, so I have a couple of questions for you around this image. Were you on your own?
Yep.
Yeah, wicked.
Apart from some cows, because when I originally got there were a load of cows in the field. So I put my second tripod down, and I then went round to the back of the monument, and I heard some rustling, and I sort of poked my head around the corner, and there were like 4 or 5 cows inspecting my tripod. So off I walked back towards the cows, because I thought, great, they're going to destroy my tripod. Yeah. And sure enough, one of them put their head in between the tripod legs and lifted it up. And so I had to very carefully and quietly and gently lift the tripod off the cow's head, to which it was quite chilled out and let me do. And then they buggered off. So yeah, other than that, I was alone. Yeah.
All right. Well, look, while I've got you, because these are, we've covered that. That's simple. Too easy, that photo, clearly. First attempt. So
I got a bit fast.
Next thing. I reckon, Phil, when the last time we met, we were at the Light Up Berlin event in Berlin. Funnily enough, being in the Light Up Berlin, but it was a great event, and Phill gave this wonderful talk on his work. And
never been so nervous. Literally had that many amazing light artists in one room. I was shitting it. Like I never thought I'd be given a talk to people about it, and I was just like.
It was, giving a talk to Eddie. I remember the feeling. It's a horrible feeling because you're standing.
I'm used to public speaking. Like I literally do it all the time in my job, and absolutely fine. But for some reason, I stand up in front of so many people that I respect in the light painting world, and I just like, oh my god, I just fell apart. Like inside, I was absolutely bricking it. And I was just like, I just feel like I came across like such a dick. And, I was like, ah!
Yeah. No, you didn't. It was a fantastic talk. It was a great talk. And one of the things that I want to refer to from that and ask you a question is your and you and I will probably sit and break down a lot of images, but one of the things I have really been enjoying and without banging on about it, but you've developed this style of just going out and actually light painting things. And one thing that blew me away was the stuff that you're doing with the stones and the statues and the recent stuff with that skeleton kind of thing are so, like, they genuinely are beautiful. But I couldn't believe when you were describing lighting up those huge, like Fountain Abbey, just with a torch, like just with a normal torch, and you, because when I think about light painting a big thing, you kind of like this, but it's something that you've Like, are you really enjoying that new sort of?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's. I'm not interested in any other form of light painting really at the moment. Like, yeah, I mean, I'll take the rotator out and do something, or I'll, but it doesn't hold that much interest to me. Basically, I'm traveling around the UK, photographing as many ruins as I can at night, lighting them with a 2,000 lumen torch. Or the drone. When I can get away with it, I'll use the drone. I mean, it's not illegal in the UK to fly a drone at night, so it's absolutely fine, But I don't want to take the mick, and people think, what the hell is that, and then call the cops. But it's not a problem. But yeah, I'm loving lighting scenes, whether it is, bluebells in a wood with a little den in it, or Sycamore Gap with the drone, or those skeletons with the drone. They're all drone lit.
It's. I think it's one of those things. Troy Paver. I sat down the other day, and he was. I don't think he would mind me saying this, that he kind of balked, because he said, "Well, I've watched your other ones, and you can't see my light painting tool." And I had to remind him, and I did during our talks, that it is the most pure form of light painting, is actually taking something that is in the dark and illuminating it with light. The image behind you is just such a fine example of that. It is the simplicity of the lighting that does it, because there is just no other way to make that building or that ruin or that thing look like that. And when you were there was, I can't remember which it was. It was one of the beautiful standing stones. And when you said to me it was just with one of those tiny little Lumi panels, well, the first thing I did is order a set because that blew me away. But what it makes me think about is the drone stuff and the panel stuff. Don't we live in amazing times, mate?
Oh Christ! I mean, the torches are ridiculous now. Crikey, I sound old. But and the fact that you can attach 300 grams of lighting equipment and fly it, 500-600 meters away to illuminate something you want is awesome, and you've got full control over it. And the drone light painting's, really, really fun. I don't necessarily want to draw lines in the sky as much, but I just use it for downlight, because that effect is, brilliant. The whole
do you think, mate, it would be accurate of me to suggest that, though, your most famous photograph is actually drawing a rather strange shaped line in the sky? I would suggest.
I don't know if it's famous then. That's a bit of an exaggeration.
Famous.
The most childish photo I've taken.
Hey, the idea of these is to keep them nice and short, Phil. And I sense trouble coming along. Look, back to this image that we've chosen. I think what it demonstrates is that your side profile is just as gorgeous as the front profile. I don't actually believe that there was no intent. Having a large phallic symbol inside your head could potentially be.
There is a lot of connections there. You're connecting the dots then.
We are going to sit down and look at many of your photos, but I would encourage anyone that's watching, again, without wanting to sound like a broken record, I don't really care if you are brand new to light painting or you're experienced. Spend some time going and looking through Phil's, particularly his more recent work, the delicate lighting of lovely scenes of buildings, of the amazing standing stones. And on a personal note, I am very, very happy to publicly say, mate, thank you so much for being such a wonderful and supportive friend to me. Probably more than you know.
Too kind.
And we'll go and light paint something sometime.
Well, yeah, I've just decided where to go on holiday for Christmas, to be honest. If it's all good somewhere down your way, we might end up in Australia. Don't know, might do. See what it's like.
Let's go. Oh,
New Zealand wins every single time, but New Zealand might not be open.
Might not. Well, you can go and hang out with my daughter. Quick question before we go. Like, give me like a sub 60-second piece of advice for someone wanting to do not so much this image, because I was just talking to Mark Barris and he kind of covered it all, but more the stuff behind you, the delicate lighting outside. What's a good place to start? What's a good mindset to be going out and delicately lighting it?
Just practice. Just get yourself a decent torch.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't have to be decent, but get yourself a torch and go out. And I mean, if you want to go and light ruins and stuff like that, just go out and just keep practicing different angles. You know, go out and just practice, basically. So that's you know how I learned to do my bit of enjoyment, as well as hang out with really cool light painters. You know, go and check out Mark O'Neill's work. He's like amazing, like one of the best light painters in my personal view anyway. And you know, like I said, I was very lucky to sort of hang out with all the English guys, of which there are many. But yeah, practice. It's like anyone that's involved in light painting properly is addicted, aren't they? So and you know, like you said, I've sort of progressed through different genres of light painting, as it were, and now I'm sort of quite happy in where I am now, going out just shooting like static objects that you know are, and I'm lighting the scene as opposed to the light being the main focus or the main subject. So but yeah, I mean, if you just keep practicing, just keep playing around, just you know, ask questions. And yeah, just
awesome.
Just do it.
That's enough advice. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. Blah 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 blah.
You'll have to edit that out.
Yeah. Thank you, mate. Thank you so much.
The English scene's very good, I think. Yeah, you got people like James Bay, you got Lace Light Photos, obviously Kim.
He's not going to shut up, is he?
Dan Whitaker.
Okay, well, I'll let Phill keep talking. So look, thanks everyone for coming and joining us at the School of Light again, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you, Phill. You're a legend. Get out of here.
You're going to have to edit a lot of this out.
See you, mate. See everyone. Thank you. You are a goose. Thank you so much.
You got to edit all of that.
No. I hope you enjoyed this visit to the School of Light. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll be adding videos all the time. Head over to the Light Painting Tool Shop at the website. There's a huge array of tools I've made there for you to take on your light painting journey. Peace.